Moving on up
to the east side.
Can't believe it.
I know, we're new spot.
To a new 2-bedroom apartment in the Sky High.
We are now broadcasting live from the world headquarters of True U and True U HR, which happens to be inside of Launch Fishers on the northeast side of Indianapolis. So we truly did move to the east side.
I don't know if we moved on up. The elevation seems like we're a little bit lower, but we're in Indiana, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, it's all flat.
Do you know the highest point in Hamilton County is the Centennial Hill?
Oh, yeah. You run up and down that thing. Right?
And that's the highest point. And it's all it is the basement of our church. So there it is. They dug out the dirt and put it there.
I remember when you started running that thing and you put the weighted vests on and stuff. And isn't there a particular day of the year where you get a bunch of people out there?
We used to do it with Mark Robinson, one of my best friends, coached football, rest in peace, Robo. And so we did that with kids getting ready for 6th grade football, the football you and I lived on, if you remember those days. And then I remember
torture of 6th graders.
Literally, Mark was he was back into cancer again, and 53, 52 years old, and ran that hill with his lineman. And so I was like, okay, I got to keep doing it. So I did not do it this year yet. I will get it done. We were in San Diego when I do it, but I always try to do it around my birthday. Mark passed away between that 21st, 25th time. So, 50 hills, 500 push-ups, 500 sit-ups. That's the day.
You turned to another circle around the sun?
I did. I'm officially new age. I'm almost as old as Chris Unger, who's
our guy over here.
Yeah.
So
if you look on our LinkedIn,
we need to have him on
the
episode sometime.
We do.
We got to figure out something to talk to him about, though.
Yeah, we'll have to use small words. Probably have a grease board and draw pictures for him, but we'll get through it.
That. But no, we're excited to be in our new studio.
Love it.
Here at Launch Fishers. If people don't know, we're in Indianapolis. Technically, right now we're in Fishers, Indiana. Launch Fishers is a co-working space. Kind of started before co-working spaces were a thing.
Launched a lot of good companies out of here.
Great companies out of here. So most recently, they launched Spoke Note out of here.
Yeah. And Spoke Note just moved again.
They just moved again. If you watched the Pacers in this year, they are the
John
Jersey
Wexler,
patch.
Way to go.
Good stuff. Okay, so question for you. What is the best concert you've ever been to?
Well, that's an easy answer for me because you don't know this about me, but I don't like big crowds. So I've only been to one concert ever.
Is that the reason you decided not to play in the NBA? Is you don't like big crowds?
Yeah, it was easier. Yeah, okay. And the contract negotiations didn't go as I like. They wouldn't give me one. But the only concert I've ever been to was in 1986. I went to Guns N' Roses opening up for Aerosmith at Market Square Arena.
And did you go for Guns N' Roses or Aerosmith or both?
More Guns N' Roses at that point.
I love Guns N' Roses.
Yeah, I was a GNR guy. This is where a couple reasons I never went back. That's a lot of people. And not a weed smoker, just call this out. But the secondhand smoke that day was the first time I ever experienced what that was like. I was for sure that I was going to go back and get tested and get my sophomore year not be able to play basketball. And so I swore off ever going to a concert again.
Okay.
Probably a little bit of hypochondria there. But
it's so funny. We didn't talk about this beforehand, but I'm about ready to tell the weed story also about concerts.
Let's talk about weed.
So I'm living in New Jersey right after college.
People profit in all things weed.
Yeah. Well, kind of. And I get this phone call and at work, and it was my roommate. And Derek Bradley, shout out Derek Bradley. And he says, hey, Mike, you want to go to a concert? And I was like, well, what concert? He's like, it's the Eagles, which I was a big Eagles fan.
Yeah.
Listened to a lot of their music. And it was at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. And so, you know, the Giants and the Jets still play at the Meadowlands, but this was the old stadium. And he's like, I got really good seats. And he goes, let's go. And I'm like, all right. So he picked me up at work, and we go up, and he keeps bragging about these seats all the way up there. And so we get into the stadium, and we start walking up and up and up and up. And no lie, we are in the top row.
Oh, my God.
The only thing above us is a damn press box. I mean, that's it. And I'm like, Derek, good seats? He's like, yeah, they're good because they were free.
Yeah.
So we gave it to him.
And nobody
we sat up there. It was an awesome concert, 3 hours long. First half, they did all the Eagles songs. The second half, the Eagles all sat in on playing everybody else's songs.
Oh, how cool is that?
In their solo career.
Did you guys have a moment where you wrapped your arms around him and they put the jumbo screen on?
Too soon.
Got it.
But Coldplay Gate, hashtag.
Yeah.
But it might be the first time I was ever high.
Yeah.
That
was the problem at Market Square. I was sitting up high.
I
was sitting up high, and that's where you get high because all the smoke rose up.
Yeah, I'm not into that kind of stuff, but I was like,
I'll do a Diet Mountain Dew in a heartbeat, though.
Yeah, or pre-workout.
Oh, yeah.
The reason I asked you.
Do the pre-workout again. Yeah, I want to hear this.
I'm going to a concert tonight.
Where are you going?
Earth, Wind, and Fire, baby.
Are you really?
Yeah, downtown. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. So you brought
Now,
up.
how much of Earth, Wind, and Fire is actually Earth, Wind, and Fire?
I don't know.
Okay.
Like they might bring them out on oxygen tanks or something. I don't know. But I will tell you.
Wait, well, by the way, let me know when you get out of that fast pass line to hell. Keep going.
So several years ago, I was just talking. My dad's birthday was yesterday.
Yes,
Turned 87.
great post, by the
Yeah,
way.
thank
Loved
you.
it.
Go out to my LinkedIn page, Mike
Yeah,
Lantz
please,
LinkedIn
people
page,
go
if you
in
haven't
on
seen
his LinkedIn page, read that post. Great,
Yeah.
great post.
So we took my dad out to dinner last night, and I had forgotten until I started telling him that we were going to this Earth, Wind, and Fire concert. So several years ago, we had just had our first kid. I needed to get out of town for a little bit, and so my dad and I went to South Carolina to Hilton Head to play golf. So we were playing golf for like 3 days. Well, one day I came back from playing golf and I went out for a run, and I ran through this tennis kind of tennis pavilion type thing, and they were setting up for something. And my dad was a big musician growing up, and I played trumpet growing up. And I said, "Who's playing here tonight?" And they're like, "Earth, Wind, and Fire." I'm like, "You're kidding me." So I finished my run, and I come back, and my dad's already in his pajamas, and he'd ordered the pizza. You know, he's ready to hunker down for the night. I'm like,
Call it.
"Put your clothes on, bro. we are going to Earth, Wind, and Fire."
Should just take him
So
in
I
his
took him.
jammies.
So it was a great concert. I've always loved him, but we're
So
going
this
to that
is
tonight.
this be your second time you get to see him?
Third. Yeah.
Goodness gracious,
Julie
you're
and
like
I
a
went one
groupie.
time, and yeah, they're good, man. I like bands with big brass and stuff like that. So
That's my nickname.
big brass. Okay. All right. Well,
Awkward.
so I got that was really bad. That just blew our
No, you said a
G-rated
cuss word a couple
podcast.
weeks ago and it didn't do anything to us, so we're good.
Oh, you remember that? Okay, so let's dive into this topic. You know, one of the things that I as we're out working with businesses and all that, you hear it too.
Yep.
Companies at some point have this potential interest in selling their business.
Everybody.
You know, you've toiled and, you know, put a lot of grit into growing your business for 20, 25 years. And at some point, you'd like to see some fruit from that.
Of course.
And that can come in a lot of different ways. Like you could sell it to an internal team. You could, create an environment where you don't have to be involved in the day-to-day and just pull profits out. Like there's a lot of different things. Or you could sell it to a strategic buyer or things like that. And so I'm hearing a lot of that in the marketplace. I mean, it's obvious. I think what's happening is people, you know, we're grinding it out through COVID, and now a lot of people are like, okay, I need to start preparing for the future and a potential sale and things
There's
like
also
that.
a part that I think COVID also exposed that they could do other things in life, and so they got an interest too.
Yeah. And even if you're not interested in selling your business at some point, I think some of this information would be really, really important.
When's the best time to sell your business? Today.
Yeah.
So you got to have it in its very best place.
Yeah. Or God forbid something happens tragic in your life
are
where
real
you
things.
can't work every day or something
Real
like
things.
that. And so when you start to look into what gets considered by organizations who are thinking about buying your business or making an investment in your business, certainly profit matters, right? I think the most popular way, Warren Buffett doesn't value businesses this way, I don't think. I read an article not too long ago about this, but a lot of people look at EBITDA, earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation,
Can't
amortization.
tell you how many people have that on their scorecard or their quarterly. That's instead of revenue, they have revenue and then EBITDA. It's a real thing.
And so a lot of times organizations will come in and they'll value your business based on your EBITDA, and then they have a multiplier of that. So maybe it's 4 times EBITDA or 10 times EBITDA, or some organizations are even trading 20 times EBITDA, depending on the industry, the location, how big it is, that sort of thing. But another thing that I was doing a little bit of research on is typically you can get up to 2 times EBITDA more for your business if you have a fully developed leadership team.
Correct.
And as I've started to ask around a lot more about this, I mean, I kind of knew that, but as I've asked more about this to people that are in private equity and who are making investments in business, they've even shared with me that it could be even higher than that, because they're like, hey, if the goal is the owner wants out in some way, doesn't want to be there day to day, and he doesn't, and the business is so dependent on that owner, then it's really, really difficult to pay top dollar for it, because now the person with all the knowledge and the people that are making the thing tick is walking away from it.
And people do business, they associate the name of the business with the owner, not with the name of the business with the people running it.
Yeah.
That devalues it at that point.
Yeah, 100%. So I started to do a little bit of research on this, and I think I've got some tools also that I want to bring in. This may be 2 episodes for us, but
I love it.
There's a really kind of a 7-step process that I think business owners can take in this process to really get their leadership team and the teams below them, because the leadership team that you're probably going to put into place, unless you're going out and hiring a brand new team, already exists sometimes in your business. You're going to elevate them, take more off their plate,
We've said it here before.
Delegate.
You're going to pay for wisdom. What are you going
Right.
to pay for? You're going to pay for the wisdom that's been established, and people will pay you a dollar cost for that established wisdom, or you're going to pay less for that and have to do it later by reestablishing that leadership team. So you're right on point.
Yeah. So if we're bringing them up from inside, we're leaving gaps in the rest of the organization below
Correct.
them. So we got to figure out how we're developing all levels so that we can bring all levels up, and we're only hiring kind of frontline or client facing. So really some research I found is, why buyers pay more for a solid management team. One is the transition risk.
Correct.
So keep people walking out the door. The person that leads sales, are they walking out the door? The person that leads operations, the client relationships, things like that. Operational dependence on the owner.
Correct.
Operational dependence on the owner.
It's the thumb drive in the back of the head, and if that leaves, the thumb drive's gone.
Yeah, and I go back to, I've referenced my experience with Defender Direct in the past, and one thing, Dave Lindsay, the founder and owner of Defenders before he sold it back in 2019, he read the E-Myth, Michael Gerber,
course, yeah.
and it really talks about the big sticking point in entrepreneurs growing their business and then moving on is the lack of systems and things like that.
100%.
So there's this, and then there's this execution risk that private equity and purchasers, buyers of businesses think about. So I've bought it now. I've got that operational dependence on the owner, and then I've got execution risk post-acquisition.
Yeah, people think you're buying products. You're actually buying the process that makes the products.
Yeah. And then integration costs. If the buyer doesn't have to participate in leadership, doesn't have a parachute in their leadership, somebody else, then there's this integration cost because now I've got to go and hire people to come in and do that and things like that. So really, it is a downward drag on EBITDA too, because if the owner's walking out and I got to go replace the owner, then that's a problem too.
Yeah, there's all sorts of things. I deal with a few of those right now.
Yeah,
that's a real thing.
Yeah, and so I think there's probably a lot of listeners out there that be like, wow, they're about ready to unpack all these things that are going to cost me a ton of money. But our podcast is called, by the way, Mike Lantz, Josh
I forgot about
Hauser.
that.
We didn't introduce ourselves here. And this is the Lucky 13.
Big Brass, if you'd like to call me that.
Big Brass. Lucky 13 podcast, all things people and profit. So a lot of people are going, okay, how much is it going to cost me to walk through a process like this? And I would submit that, the people are what drives the profit.
Correct.
And we always talk about that. And so while there's some dollars that probably have to be invested in something like this, it is going to potentially, it's going to drive the valuation of your business, whether you're looking to sell it or not. Some people say up to 2 times, sometimes 3 or 4 times what your business is actually
What
worth.
you just said, I hope everybody heard that part. You said, what's it going to cost? And if that's in your mindset, you already have negative intent. You have to put a positive intent on there that this is an investment, and this investment today can yield 2x, 3x later. And so that part of the conversation's goal to realize that when we talk about all things people and profit, we invest in people to drive the profit. And so you hit something on the head that I've been hammering on lately. Is this an invest or an expense? So keep us going.
Yeah. It's interesting you brought that up. I probably once a week, I hear one of our clients saying the largest expense line that we have in our company is our people.
It's got to make you itch.
Right? And I know what they mean by that, right? It's an accounting thing. It's here's my revenue and here's my expenses and here's my profit, and the people costs, the salaries and the bonuses and the benefit costs and all that. It's an expense line, but they talk about it like an expense line, almost like, man, we could be so much better if we didn't have this expense line.
It's not a fleet of vans.
Yeah.
It's a different conversation. I'm glad you brought that up, and I call that out on the regular. People are the investment, and when that investment is becoming an expense, well, now we'll have a different kind of conversation. But let's stay on topic here. But I love that.
Yeah, I would just challenge every business owner listening to this. Think about your business if you didn't have the people that you have on your team.
Correct.
My guess is it wouldn't be as successful as it is today.
Correct.
And then think about your business, what it could be if you had everybody that was engaged as your top 5 people in your organization around engagement. If you had everybody engaged in that level, what could your business be?
When everybody's challenges and skills match, and then you're moving those on the regular.
Yeah. Or how many times do you sit at home and go, man, I lost this key employee several years ago because I didn't have a expanded role for them and they were stunted out on their growth.
Correct.
And how many times have you sat there and go, if I just had Johnny Smith back?
Hiring's real. Got to start spending time on it. But this exercise you're going to go through will prove to you why you have to do those things. So take us through.
I think so. So really this is, I'm going to unpack what I call kind of some talent planning steps that I think all organizations should do, whether they're thinking about selling or they're not thinking about selling. And one of the first things is you're an EOS implementer and a damn good one.
Thank you.
And So you help people think about their business 10 years in advance, or 7 years in advance, 3 years in advance, or whatever. And there are people components to that. But a lot of times organizations don't say, all right, if this is where we're going to be 7 years from now, what does my organization have to look like from an organizational structure, an accountability chart, if you will,
Correct.
5 years from now?
Yeah, I preach, you can't think as it is. You have to think as it might be.
Right.
And spend your time thinking about what it might be and start building to what you might be. Because if you think as it is, you're going to be in a reactionary state all the time.
Yeah, and when it comes to people, like this isn't like a computer program that I can just go and change the computer program tonight and it will operate differently tomorrow.
No.
It takes time.
Yeah, this is an investment, and I would argue the biggest investment in people. We think it's monetary, and it should be the time that we put into them.
Yeah. So I would encourage everybody, and I did back in my Defender days, we were growing so fast that I was walking around in my notebook, it was before the remarkable days. I was walking around in my notebook with a current org chart,
Yeah.
a 2-year org chart, and a 5-year org chart. Based on what the organization said we wanted to go and accomplish. And so I was on the leadership team there. So I was part of those discussions.
Yeah, of course.
But we're saying, where do we want to be 5 years from now?
I love that.
And then I would work with all the senior leaders to figure out, what does your department look like 5 years from now if we have to accomplish this?
Yeah,
right?
I love you saying that. I'm meeting with an HR team today, and we're doing this exact exercise. We know where we're at today, but we're doing a 2-year planning out.
Yeah.
And then the leadership team is going to come in on the backside.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think whether you got to have a 2-year, a 5-year, or whatever you have to have, it depends on the complexity of the business and how many holes you have in the business. Because if you're going to be 3 times the size you are today, just as an example, 5 years from now, likely a lot of the people that you have in place may not be able to develop in such a way that will get you will be proficient in their jobs when it's,
or we'll make that mistake that everybody makes and over promote somebody and lose where they were absolutely proficient in. And now I'm hiring 2. So
so step 1 is aligning future organizational charts with the organizational vision.
Love it.
And that's not a hard exercise. The CEOs listening to this right now could actually say, I know where I want to be 5 years from now. Pull out a whiteboard and chart out what you think the organization is going to look like.
And while you're doing that, make sure you're tying data points into it. It's not a hypothetical. It's not ifs and whens. It's when we get to this number. Right, if we have 20% growth, do we need 20% people growth?
Yeah.
Or does it take 10% people growth to get to 20? I have that argument with so many people, but numbers will tell you what you need to be accountable for. And so tie numbers into that. I love it.
And people growth, I think you mean this too. People growth doesn't mean I have to have 20% more people.
No.
Because we always have to be looking for more efficiencies.
More skills, more. I mean, right now with the AI boom, it's bodies and bots.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not trying to run people out of their jobs, but I want to use bodies and bots to its most effective and efficient to scale my business, to get that J curve we're all chasing.
Yeah. We got a guy just around the corner here. His name's Jason Butler, and he is the CEO of RoboSource. Ooh. And they're here in this market and really outside this market, really one of the tips of the spear on where AI is going.
Love it.
In fact, just 4 weeks ago, he announced that he just got an investment from Tim Tebow and his company in RoboSource. So we ought to have him on here.
We would love to bring him on.
Like I said, he's just right around the corner. He could really kind of help us.
Probably shouldn't bring Tim in. He'll be intimidated by my build.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. Okay, so that's number 1, align future org charts with vision. The second thing is I understand that there is a finite amount of money that's available to organizations to do this work that we're unpacking.
Yeah.
So we have to prioritize, okay? And so we talk about this idea of pivotal roles.
Yeah.
So we have to identify, now we have this org chart. At each of these stages of growth, we have to identify the pivotal roles at those various stages. And here's how we define the pivotal role. I want to hear this. If that role can go vacant, let me back up. Can that role go vacant for an extended period of time without impacting your strategic plan?
Great question.
If the answer to that is yes, it can go vacant for an extended period of time without impacting our strategic plan, then it is not a pivotal role.
That's a great prep. Say that one more time. So I'm going to say it back to you, and then you help me on this. If that role can go vacant and not affect the impact of the company, then that is not a pivotal role.
That's correct.
That way, a pivotal role is going vacant will impact the company.
That's right.
And just get clearly defined. I could see color coding the chart like this is a pivotal, this is a pivotal. I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, so we have this template that we list out all the pivotal roles in. And that's kind of the first. It's the second step in this process, but we're going to come back to the pivotal roles as we think about succession and things like that. So here's the deal: if you've got a person in charge of operations in your organization, and you label them non-pivotal, that's a problem. Like I would think it's a problem. Like if you could go for an extended period of time without the person that leads operations in your organization, I wonder the impact that role is having.
Let me ask you on both those questions. So I'm gonna, and just so we're clear with the people at home, is it the person or is it the seat or is it a combination of both?
Oh, it's a great question. It's the seat primarily.
Okay.
It's the seat
Because
primarily.
the person conversation is a conversation needs to be had as well.
Yeah.
But if the seat's not a pivotal role, so be it.
Yes.
If the seat's a pivotal role and the person's not in it, well, then we got a talent conversation.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Good. Thank you.
And for context, when I left Defenders, there were 4,000 employees.
Oh.
And we only had 74 pivotal roles out of 4,000 employees.
Holy smokes.
Now, we didn't have 4,000 unique roles.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
we
there were some
probably had
different-
750 unique roles.
Yeah.
But we had only about 74 to 76 pivotal roles.
So about 10% of the pure seats, not
Yeah.
the 4,000 seats, the pure 750
Yeah.
seats were pivotal.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, exactly. And so that, and then when you think about it, these are the areas that you've got to spend a lot of. That's where your resources go.
Yeah.
Not to say that the person not sitting in a pivotal role is not important. They are. But if I have a finite amount of money I can go spend on the efforts that we're doing to build succession, then I at least know where I got to go spend time.
So we got about 2 minutes left. So I just want to recapture the couple that this is 2 episodes, maybe even 3 episodes. So future organization chart.
Yeah.
You got to see, and I love the current, the 2, the 5. Here's where we are now. I mean, I always tell all my teams, I at least need to know where we're going to be 6 months from now or 1 year from now.
Yeah.
Because we need to make plans. HR needs to make plans. Hiring needs. You don't just go out and hire today. It's a longer process if you want to get the right people.
Yeah.
This pivotal role conversation, that is such a deep conversation. And then you have to remove the ego of everybody in that room at that point and just really talk about if this seat didn't exist, would the company function? And just really get clear on that. And then to your point, that's where your investment goes, is in the skill set of the people in that seat. Leadership skill set, knowledge skill sets, everything from coaching, managing, the whole LMA conversation.
Yeah, and I think on pivotal roles, just for clarity too, is I think you have to do the pivotal role conversation relative to each organizational chart that you've created for the future.
Okay.
As an example, let's say that M&A is a big part of your strategy for growth.
Love it.
Well, then you probably need to have some pivotal roles around some of the roles that you have inside your organization for integration of those acquisitions would be pivotal. But if 5 years from now, M&A is no longer a part of your strategy, you don't need those roles. So they may not go away. You might reposition them, but they're no longer pivotal roles.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Understood.
Awesome. So why don't we come back in the next episode? We've got a total of 7 steps. We've gone for first 2.
Yeah, we've got first 2, and we talked about George Jefferson.
Yes, we did. And good thing we don't have Gong. You know Gong, the sales AI tool?
I do know it, yeah.
Good thing we don't have that because I feel like I'm doing all the talking here. So,
No, I'm enjoying it. I'm taking notes, and here's what I want. If anybody's listening home, you got to absorb it, and then what I'm trying to do
if
back
anybody is listening at home,
that
questions that we have any listeners.
Yeah, well,
we do. We have millions.
Millions.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Keep going.
I'm still high from
For all the millions that are
Guns
listening
N'
at home.
Roses concert. Here's what I want you to think. You have to ask the question afterwards if you don't get clarity on these questions. And so I really feel like that's going to be my role over these next couple episodes is to dive into the deeper question as a business owner and make sure that I get clarity.
Yep.